This is what's left of the Mercedes in which the Princess of Wales and her companion Dodi Al Fayed were being driven back to his house. Witnesses say the car was being pursued by photographers on motorbikes. Whatever the cause, it's clear that when he entered this tunnel alongside the River Seine, the driver lost control, crashing into a pillar on one side, then with full force into a wall on the other. You'd hardly recognize this as a car. The engine rammed up into the rear passenger area. Miraculously, Diana's bodyguard sitting in the front survived this. Dodi Al Fayed died instantly in the back seat. The princess, who was sitting alongside, suffered terrible chest injuries. The driver died immediately. At first, ambulance crews managed to keep the princess alive, but her heart had stopped beating by the time she was admitted to hospital. The surgeons fought for 2 hours to restart her heart. At 3 o'clock this morning, London time, they admitted defeat and announced that Diana, Princess of Wales, was dead.
Dawn had not yet broken over Buckingham Palace as people began to arrive to pay their respects. Young people grieving for a princess they regarded as their own.
She was young herself, she was fresh, she was, I think she showed that the royal family wasn't something that was still stuck in the 18th century, and she tried to drag it forward.
Some stood before the palace gates and could not contain their tears. Some retreated to be alone with their thoughts. And as more flowers were laid, the Scots Guard paid their own moving tribute, and a normally bustling, excited crowd fell silent. And at Kensington Palace, where the princess lived, more flowers and more tears. A nation coming to terms with the unthinkable. At Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where the royal family has been on holiday, Diana's sons, William and Harry, were woken by Prince Charles to be told of their mother's death. They grieved in private here, but at 11:30 precisely, 3 black cars emerged from the castle and crossed the River Dee, the family on its way to church. In the first car, the Queen Mother with the Duke of York, behind them the Prince of Wales seated between his sons, and finally the Queen dressed in black with the Duke of Edinburgh. The service in the local church lasted an hour, but not once was the princess mentioned by name. Britain went into mourning today, united in a sense of grief and shock. Tonight the crowds were still gathering to remember a princess and to reflect on the impact her death will have on a royal family she may have changed forever.
Flanked by an honour guard of French soldiers, the body of Diana, Princess of Wales, leaves a hospital in Paris. A simple white wood coffin draped in the royal standard. This was the end of both fairy tale and tragedy, an end that is still shocking nearly 24 hours on. Minutes before, Prince Charles had arrived to collect the body of his former bride, consoled by French President Jacques Chirac. Inside, he and the princess's 2 sisters spent a few minutes silently with the body before Charles emerged, the strain clearly showing as he thanked officials and doctors for all they had tried to do. Then, in an unmarked and unremarkable vehicle, the woman whose life was so remarkable was driven through Paris for the last time, just 18 hours after the short journey that had caused her death. But the charities and the good causes, the glittering balls and the lavish holidays are over now. Diana should have been coming home today to see her 2 sons in London after a summer holiday. Instead, her body was brought home, crushed and broken. It was carried carefully, 8 RAF servicemen bearing it up towards the belly of a plane. She was called today the People's Princess. She wanted to be known as the Queen of Hearts. She will now forever be remembered for her violent, wholly shocking death. The Prince of Wales took her back, calmer now, and the plane left France for England, leaving behind a stunned city and a stunned continent. Diana, Princess of Wales, is dead.
An aircraft of the Queen's flight brought the Princess's body home this evening, arriving at Northolt, where the Prime Minister Tony Blair had gathered with members of his government. A single black hearse crossed the tarmac, and a Royal Air Force Guard of Honour moved slowly forward. The Prince of Wales had accompanied the body back from France. Diana's coffin was draped in a royal standard trimmed with an ermine border to signify a member of the royal family. It was a mark of respect, a sign that on this sad occasion she was still to be treated as part of the family, despite her divorce from the prince last year. A line of dignitaries on the tarmac included the Lord Lieutenant of Greater London, Field Marshal Lord Bramall, and the Lord Chamberlain, who has final responsibility for the funeral arrangements. The hearse left for a private mortuary, where the princess will lie until her funeral.
We're just now seeing the...
Prince Charles boarded the aircraft for the 1.5-hour flight to Aberdeen and the drive back to Balmoral to rejoin his sons. It was the end of a day of disbelief.